Hey everyone, I'm Joanna Hogerman. I am your student's college prep biology teacher for the 2018-2019 school year. I just want to say once again that I apologize that I'm not able to be there for back to school night tonight, but I figured this way you would all be able to see and hear the same things that I would normally talk about during a back to school night session. If you would still like to meet with me, please feel free to contact me at my school email address or use Loopmail to contact me or contact a counselor in the office and they can set up a time for us to meet and talk about you and your students' needs personally. Just a little bit about me. This is my 7th year of teaching biology. I absolutely love what I do, and I have a lot of fun teaching students all about the different diverse topics about life and doing labs and helping students build projects, and it's just a great topic. So we should have a wonderful year. I'd like to start off with a tour of the classroom, imagining that you were coming into back to school night and you could see kind of what the classroom looks like to the students. So as students sit, this is kind of what they see on a daily basis if we're going to do notes or a lecture or something like that. Usually when they walk in, I have information written on the board. There's usually stuff for them to turn in, or there's assignments for them to grab, or something to glue into their notebook. I keep their table of contents for their notebook listed up here. It's also posted digitally on Google Classroom. I keep my email address here for the students and a list of tutoring hours for them as well, all up at the front. At the side of the classroom, you can see the door that the students enter in from daily, and you can see their posted agenda. I keep a daily objective listed as well as what they're going to do for the day, and I always list all of their homework with due dates. This gets updated daily. As we move to the side of the classroom, this is one of my 2 giant counters. This has 3 sinks, and we use these for wet labs and microscope labs throughout the year. In the back of the classroom, you'll notice that I have lots of extra tables, and this is good for group work. We build lots of projects, we do lots of labs, and so face-to-face communication is very, very useful for them. So I have lots of extra space to do that. I do have Chromebook carts in the back, so each student has an assigned Chromebook that they use during class to access Google Classroom, access virtual labs, access their projects that they're working on as well. So all of the projects that I assign them have technology components, and it's very useful for them to use the Chromebooks to record their voices, record videos, and build awesome presentations that they can share with the class. I also keep supplies back here, colored pencils, paper, scissors, and extra assignments back here in case students are absent. So moving to this side, here's my other Chromebook cart. Here's the other counter with 3 extra sinks, more desks for students to sit at, and my teacher desk as well. So if you were to come to back to school night, this is what you would see. For students to be successful in my class, it's very important that they're in class before the tardy bell rings. I'm a bell-to-bell teacher, so I give instructions, both written and spoken, right when the bell rings. If students aren't in class on time, they're usually going to miss valuable opportunities to turn in assignments to me, have assignments checked off, or grab assignments from the front, and this makes it a very challenging experience for them to stay caught up. I also expect that students are respectful to themselves, to their peers, to me, and to the classroom. It just makes for a much cleaner, more pleasant learning environment when we all respect each other. I'm very big on students asking for help. I have plenty of tutoring hours, as well as I always check my Loopmail so they can regularly message me if they don't have a chance to ask me in class. But having students ask me for help is essential to their success. I also expect that they will participate. This doesn't just mean sitting in class and staying awake. It means literally talking to their neighbors when I give them time to discuss. When we have class discussions, making sure that they're speaking out and attending to what we're learning. And this verbal participation, as well as the active writing and interactive participation, will help them retain information better. Obviously, turning in assignments is also key to success in my class. If you would like to help your students succeed, I highly encourage that, along with communicating with me personally, that you encourage your student to start practicing communicating with me too. Having them initiate questions for me first is usually a great way to help them practice that skill for the future. And of course, I love hearing from you. Well, please don't take this as I don't want to hear from you. I love to hear from parents, but it's a good practice to have your student also ask me for what they need. Please, if you have not gotten School Loop, get a School Loop account. That's how I message parents about tests coming up or projects coming up or grade deadlines or late work deadlines. And so it's very important that you have School Loop so that you can not only check their grades, but you can check for any updates from teachers. If you are uncomfortable helping students because maybe you don't understand the topic, that's totally fine. But at least if you could help check on how students are doing with their homework daily, expect that they will have homework daily and bug them about getting it done. That really helps keep students on track. Make time to talk about school, make time to help them get to tutoring if they need tutoring, and I'll show you tutoring hours shortly. But help them take school seriously, give them a mindset that this is important, that they do graduate, and that biology is one of the classes that they need to have to graduate. So help them get in that mindset of doing well. Like I said before, I do expect that students will have some sort of assignment they're working on almost nightly. And so if you understand that, then you can bug them about making sure they get their work done nightly as well. Finally, communicate with me, please. I love parent communication. Email me if you have questions about your students' grades, if you have questions about their behavior, if you have concerns about anything. But also, please contact me if you have any ways that you feel like your experiences could enrich the class. If you have a certain career field where you have connections for us for field trips, or you have connections for class presentations, and you'd like to share those to enrich your students' experience in biology, I would love to hear from you. I love all sorts of parent communication. So the grading system in this class is weighted, 20% for homework, which is practice that will help them succeed on projects and tests. Tests are worth 45% of their grade because this is where they have to prove to me that they were paying attention all unit long, and they do have plenty of preparation time and review time with me before they take those tests. The grade breakdown is mostly normal except for the C, D, and F range. They have a little bit more wiggle room, so students can get down to a 65% and still have a C, a 55% and still have a D, and a 54 and below is an F. This is essential for our freshmen that have a little bit of trouble adjusting to high school, so we take this grade scale very seriously and we think it helps our students. I am fine with cell phones in the case of use as tools. So when we use calculators, they can use their cell phones. When we use timers for labs, or if they have to visually record things or take pictures of their labs, cell phones are welcome. I do also understand, though, that they're huge distractions. So I expect that they're put away during notes, labs, and group work. And then here's the restroom policy. Usually I can't let students out the first or last 10 minutes of class in case it's an emergency. There is going to be homework nightly. If it's not nightly, there's usually a test that they should be studying for. I do accept late work for 70% credit as long as it's turned in within the 6-week grading period in which it was assigned. And I do also allow for test corrections because tests are worth 45% of the grade. I understand that it might impact a student's grade heavily, so tests can be corrected for points back, not full points back, but partial points back during tutoring. And I do offer tutoring before school daily, after school Monday through Thursday, and during first lunch daily. School Loop's where your student can check their grades, and if you see a 0, it usually means that an assignment is missing. I try to update my grades at least every 2 weeks, but usually do it more often. If you want to check your student's grade, you just go to the biology section when you log into School Loop. You click on Progress Report, and then it gives you this view here so you can see how their grade is doing, what their percentages are for homework versus tests, what their grade is up here. And then if a pink box shows up, that means that they have 0s, and those 0s are missing assignments that they can turn in as long as it's within that 6-week grading period. So due dates are usually posted on School Loop as well as their grades, but we use Google Classroom more often for everything. So since we use Google Classroom for electronic copies of notes, videos, projects, and assignments, internet is essential. If internet's going to be an issue for you, please contact me as soon as possible so I can accommodate your student. If you want, here is the login information to get onto Google Classroom. Go ahead and pause this, and if you want to try to log into your student's Google Classroom account, you can do so. I would like to show you Google Classroom just briefly so you can navigate it. So when you log into Google Classroom, this is what you will see. You'll see this is the first period class. I also have Prep Bio 5th and 6th period. But you will see a stream section in which I post things in order. So I posted a review video for students. I was absent one day last week, so I posted a list of their assignments they were supposed to complete in class, and it just goes in order. But there's also this cool section called the classwork section in which I post everything by unit. So we're now in the biochemistry unit, and I post by date what was supposed to be completed, and it gives due dates for certain things here as well. When students click on these assignments, they can view certain assignments that they're supposed to complete here, and it gives them instructions for how to do so. Sometimes they have to turn in work to this, but oftentimes they just turn in their work to me in person. If you ever have questions about how to navigate Google Classroom, let me know, but it's a great way to make sure that everything we have is posted online and students can access it whenever they want. I also have a section called Course Materials, where you can always access the syllabus for this class, and you can always access the virtual table of contents that students will use for their notebooks. So that's always on Google Classroom. Feel free to take a look at this list of supplies that students need. Most of your students already have these things. The notebook is especially important, as is loose leaf paper. My supplies are very limited, so I do appreciate donations if you would ever like to do so. This is the biology notebook. So they have a table of contents at the start, which we update daily. They glue in assignments with me daily. We spend the first part of class to the last part of class every day gluing things in their notebook, so it's all organized, and I check every single student's notebook before they leave to make sure that it's all organized and ready to go. And they do get points for their notebook as well. Usually I collect it on test days, and I check to make sure everything is in there. If you ever have questions about the notebook, just let me know. You can pause here if you'd like to copy down my email address again. I check my email every single day, multiple times a day, so you should be able to contact me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, even on weekends. And so this year, before we go, if you're interested, these are the topics that we will be learning. We already learned about the introduction to science. We're now in our biochemistry unit, where we talk about the 4 macromolecules and we talk about enzymes. We'll spend a large amount of time focusing on the cell and the human body. And then we'll spend the last part of the semester talking about photosynthesis, cell respiration, and the carbon cycle as it relates to passing on energy and passing on matter. Semester 2 is full of all sorts of cool genetics stuff, so DNA, Punnett squares, genetic engineering, and then we move into ecology, evolution, and we do end with a unit on the reproductive system as mandated by the state of California, and we'll talk about that in semester 2. So that's it for me. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you for sticking with me through this video. And once again, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to back to school night, but thank you for watching. Let me know if there's anything that I can ever do for you or for your students, and I look forward to a wonderful year with you. Bye.